Welcome into Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. My name is Joel Goldberg. Enterprise Bank, the title sponsor of this show, the hashtag no stopping you. I keep saying that we all feel that way right now. Going to get to my guest live in just a moment. He might be the busiest guy in Kansas City. He certainly, and what his company is doing, is in extreme demand. So I'm grateful to have a little bit of his time. Before we do that, I do want to let everybody know about one of the sponsors of the show, Casey Cattle Company. And for those of you that are quarantined right now, we're all sheltering in place for the most part. Many of us need food deliveries. And quite frankly, if you didn't need that food delivery, their product is amazing. So check out Casey Cattle Company. They're locally owned by veterans, owned and operated by veterans, CaseyCattleCompany.com, or just keep up with them on social media at Casey Cattle Company. The Goldbergs order from them all the time. They've got award-winning hot dogs. They've got new bratwursts that are out, the steaks, the brisket. We get ground beef all the time, and it's the greatest tasting hamburgers and tacos and meatloaf and all that kind of stuff that you would want. So I hope that you'll support a phenomenal local company in the Casey Cattle Company. So you're watching Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust, where we focus on local businesses that are trying to grind through right now. And I'm really proud to be joined right now by someone that has really had to pivot in the most unbelievable way. So I want to bring in right now Andy Rieger from J. Rieger. And I'm not day drinking, but I wanted a prop, in part supporting local business. But man, Andy's the co-founder of J. Rieger Co. And I know that you guys have so much going on right now. I don't know where to begin other than the fact that you are extremely in demand. I'm grateful for your time, beyond the friendship, because I know how busy you are. How would you describe life right now at work?
It's easily the craziest time period that we could have ever imagined in life. It's been something where the emotions have gone from complete lulls to complete highs to complete lulls to complete highs. We've seen really what's going on at the ground level, being that, for all of you that don't know, we're a manufacturer of distilled spirits, and we've got a 60,000 square foot distillery here in Kansas City. And we've been really fortunate to be able to build our company up over the last 6 years and get a lot of support from it. But when this all came about, not only did the shutdown of bars and restaurants around the country, which are our huge customers, we're in 23 states. And not only did that really impact our business, but people are not allowed to come into our facility as well. And so that also impacted our business. And what started as, what are we going to do to survive and try to stay here and be here when this all ends, whenever that may be, transitioned very quickly from a few emails that came in of people just requesting that we help them out specifically with hand sanitizer. And that just kind of grew and grew and grew. We did some public sale days, saw how incredibly needed hand sanitizer was in the metro area. And then that led to hospitals getting in touch with us and nursing facilities getting in touch with us, and every single business that's essential, and all the utility providers in Kansas City needed it, and all of the governmental infrastructure needed it from us. And it was just this thing that you saw it of, oh my God, there's really nothing here. And we're the only ones that are really big enough at scale, that are close enough, that can actually do this and make this conversion. And our entire team just put their heads down and said, how do we do this? How do we knock this out? And so being able to then, though, answer all the emails and the phone calls and see people come in, and or not come in, but stay outside, and we talk to them and hear it, and hearing what people are really going through, it's been a very humbling experience for us as a company. It's been incredibly endearing to see that what we had thought and believed our work team, we always call our family, and being able to see what our family really is all about, and how we all truly care about each other and really want this to not only all of us to survive, but to allow this company to survive. And if the means of doing that is helping out a major need in the community, it takes it to a whole new level. And so everyone here, not only do we all feel like we're in this together and we're the ones trying to do what we can to the best of our ability to make a difference, but we're all getting to do it together. And so we're really killing two birds with one stone here by building that camaraderie and that family type atmosphere and idea while doing something that is in desperate need within our own community here in the metro area.
I can't imagine, Andy, the range of emotions. I mean, I know because you've explained them to me, via text or phone call. I've just tried to call a couple times to check in because I know how much you have on your plate as a friend, but yet also I know how busy you are. I haven't wanted to bug you a whole lot, but I'm wondering if you could explain the range of emotions as a business owner. By the way, a former finance guy who suddenly finds himself owning a distillery that has one of the most magnificent, I think, facilities in town that opened. When was the official opening?
In town, that's it.
Well, I'm limited to just being in Kansas City. I haven't traveled for quite a while. I was supposed to have started that for baseball. Yes, in the nation. Okay, stop it. I love your guys' place. When was the grand opening?
So we did when we redid the 60,000 square feet and opened up the second iteration, more or less, or the expansion facility. That was in July of 2019.
Okay. I know everything blends together at this point. One of the best facilities in the country. But something that I think was on the verge and still will be of being something that Kansas Cityans are proud of. There are distilleries and facilities all over the nation, but this was something special and something unique in an old building here in Kansas City, down in the East Bottoms. And I love that place. And I think it was something that people were starting to learn about and wanting to go hang out. It was a place to bring a lot of people together, oftentimes many parties at one time in different rooms, and there's cool bars and food and, of course, the slide. Just amazing experiences there. So now you're in this industry. It's going well. What have the range of emotions been over the last 3 weeks in terms of survival, business? Oh my God, what are we doing? To suddenly being in high demand.
It's still there's really two things that we're doing right now. The first bit of emotion that we had when all of this started, and I'm a big pessimist and a realist and everything, and I actually called a meeting with about 6 other CEOs in Kansas City and had them down. It would have been like early Thursday morning in March, and we all met at 7 a.m. and just did coffee and sat in our boardroom. And they weren't really thinking that it was going to be as crazy as it was, but they were seeing the writing on the wall that this could spiral out of control pretty quickly. And being able to have, more or less, we all talked every single day on the phone for, a couple of weeks until a lot of people had to let a lot of folks go. And then the conversation switched away from how are you adapting to, everyone has been laid off. So it wasn't really, everyone was sort of in this own boat for themselves. And so really the goal was, like I mentioned earlier, first off, we're like, how do we keep providing for all the families that count on J. Rieger and Co. that make up our family here at the company? And we had 95 people that were receiving some form of paycheck. We promised everyone right off the bat, we're going to pay you for 2 weeks, even though we're being basically forced to close down. And after that, we're going to see. And some of the people said, I prefer to just collect unemployment. I don't want to do whatever it is that you're doing. And the others all said, I want to be here full time. And so we've kind of transitioned. We now have like 60, 65 people that are considered full time and are working around the clock right now to knock out hand sanitizer. But really, when the goal originally was, how do we find something to do to keep everyone engaged and paying people? That was a blend of talking to U.S. senators' offices and really trying to put forward a lot of ideas. We actually had one of our senators, their team said right off the bat, very bluntly to me, we need ideas. Like, we really honestly need good ideas that are well thought out. Please put real ideas down and send them in a very clear and concise email, because we need help from real legitimate small businesses that understand what is going on and what their real needs are. And so we were going that route. And then truly that hand sanitizer element just kicked up at the end, and it just became something that we said, we've got some of the materials to do this. Let's figure it out. And that led away from let's figure it out truly into, wow, we can actually do this. And this is where we're going to be able to keep the building open. We're going to be able to continue paying our employees, and we're going to guarantee that we're going to get to be here when this all ends, and hopefully be a place that not only our employees can really count on and look forward to, but also something that the public can look forward to. And so the more that we can do and give back now, which donations have always been a huge part of our business, right now more than ever, but it's the ability that a lot of people have to be able to buy the sanitizer from us as well, that really keeps us moving and going forward. And when we talk about that wide range of emotion, which your question really revolves around, wide range of emotion really has gone from internally, how are we going to take care of our employees? It's not going to work out, or we're going to figure this out, all the way to seeing people on the street that are giving us their stories about how their 90-year-old mothers live with them and how they can't get hand sanitizer and they're out of soap at their house and no stores have it and it's too risky to go to a store. And you just hear people just crying to you and seeing people cry to you. And it brings you to a whole nother level of emotion. And then you get the people, that example I just told you, I heard that story and I started crying, and I go up to the car in front of them. This was at 7 a.m. before one of our public sale days. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry. And I go up to the next car, wipe my tears away. And the guy goes, hey, here's $100. I just need one bottle. Will you please use the rest of this money to just take care of your employees and take care of other people that have needs? And we have a guy today that wanted 600 bottles for his business. And he goes, but I'd like to pay for 700. And you're just getting a lot of that. And so you see a lot of people's true character during this time. And those are the things that really give you the confidence and the faith that when this is all said and done, what an incredible city that we really have. And I cannot wait to continue to be a part of it. But this is also that time period where what you're seeing is you're seeing people look at us for almost leadership and inspiration as to what we're doing. And a lot of people don't have the means to help out. And what I mean by that is they don't have a distillery that has all the proper licenses to convert to make hand sanitizer. So, but they know that they can help out by continuing to monetarily support those companies that are helping out and donating to what they want to donate to. And that's something that we're starting to see people really gravitate towards, not just with us, but with a bunch of other companies doing the same thing. And what that really shows is this vote of confidence of them saying, I want you to be here when this is all said and done. I want to ensure that when the next thing like this happens, everyone at your company that was able to make this pivot overnight and provide this massive need for the community in a really large scale, I want to make sure that you're here to figure out the next problem and help us get through the next one. And so that support that we're getting really shows us that what we're doing is the right thing. And we're really making sure that we're taking care of those that need to be taken care of. But every now and then we get people that don't need to be taken care of that say, can you donate this to us? And we say, you know, one of them was FedEx. I'll just say it. We were pretty blown away. They were like, yeah, could we do a discount? We'll tell our employees you gave us a discount. It'll be good PR for you. And we responded with, you're a massive publicly traded company. You don't need to take a discount. You're not a nonprofit. Those are saved for people that can't afford it. Thank you. And they go, okay. And they paid. So you're getting both sides of the aisle, and we're just having to balance that out with more or less picking and choosing as to what we feel is really who those are that need it and who those are that can afford to help us provide for those that need it.
Well, I think in times like this, you're seeing all sides of everything, nonstop all day long. And I think ultimately the good will rise. We're seeing that. We're seeing community. I've said it over and over again on this podcast. I'm doing a baseball show too. We were talking, you're a Royals fan, and we were talking on our baseball show today to Raul Ibanez, and he says, I've got neighbors that I've never said hi to before, and suddenly we're waving to each other every day. We're seeing that all everywhere. And so I know that you're experiencing that personally and professionally. I think the date that you were talking about, I might be wrong, but it's certainly the one that I've circled in my mind, was Thursday, March 12th, probably when you had those meetings, because that was the night after the NBA shut down. That was the day that the NCAA tournament, I think they canceled that day, but the Big 12 tournament, all that stuff, which was looking like it might be no fans in the stands, suddenly everything went away. That was the day that changed. I said I was at an accelerant breakfast listening to a speaker, And that was kind of the last day that I was shaking hands. I was aware. I'm like, oh, every time I shake a hand, better get that hand sanitizer. And then everything quickly changed. So the pivot for you, I'm just curious on the timeline. How quickly from, say, that March 12th date was the hand sanitizer idea born? And then you were selling it. I remember that there were massive lines and you were selling out quickly, whatever days you were doing it. How quick did you go from that to, oh my gosh, there are hospitals and, companies that need us? That's not just about the people waiting in line.
Yeah, so I think that the first day that we did public sales was Friday the 20th.
Okay.
And what that day did was, you hear a lot about these wartime requirements that presidents impose on companies, and they're specifically referencing, the big manufacturers that made tanks and bullets and all that during the wars, but really getting companies to sort of step up to the plate when they're not being forced to. And it was the week of the 16th. I think it was Monday the 16th when I'm looking at my calendar on my other screen, so forgive me if my eyes are wandering. It was that day that we all just started to get some emails saying we need this. And we started looking at it, and we had the materials, and we had the ability, and we had to figure out labeling and packaging and all of that. And our whole entire team just shifted. And as I was giving detailed instruction to everyone, it was just people were just taking it and running with it and taking leadership and executing at a really high level. And it was so imperative at that particular time that was occurring. And so from that Monday, really it was probably that Monday afternoon to that Wednesday, call it morning, evening, that we were able to basically lay out an entire formulated plan for how we were going to do this. And when you have 95 people at that time that were here every day, and you're getting all of them and you're telling them, you no longer do what you did. I'm going to need to retrain you, but I don't know how to retrain you. So you're going to need to do some on-the-job training and figure it out and give feedback so that we can improve this. And from that, we had supplies that were lacking quite dramatically. But as we started doing it a little bit for a few of the nursing homes and all of that, we've never, we're doing big bottles, 2-liter bottles, right? The people that have been doing the little 2-ounce bottles and doing a couple hundred of them to give away, that helps you for an afternoon, right? But that doesn't really fill the need. And a lot of those are big time PR moves. And so we kind of stayed away from the press overall on this because we were just trying to fill that need overall. And that's what the big bottles really showcased. But the press got wind of it, and they came down that Friday, the 20th, when we had our first public sale. And what that ultimately did was it opened us up to every single hospital, because the messaging we had been putting out privately on our social media channels were, if you are in the medical profession, if you are a utility provider, or if you are a critical infrastructure provider, government, et cetera, first responder, all those, please reach out because we are prioritizing you over anyone else. And, when it didn't explode or get shared too much, we just got a handful of requests. But once we did that first public sale and people saw there was a line 2 miles long of cars backing up all the way into the river market from where we are, and there were 15, 20 cops here having to direct traffic, what that did with all the press being there and helicopters flying over looking at it, it created more or less all of the hospitals in the area and all of the police departments and all the fire departments to say, great, awesome, we know we're going to have our hand sanitizer. And being able to then receive those inquiries and fill those inquiries was an entirely different thing that we hadn't thought about yet. And so managing that process and getting that figured out and really transitioning. But it was to get back to your specific question, it was about a 36-hour pivot of, should we do this? Yeah, let's do this, to then, great, we have our plan, we have labels, we have the idea of bottles, we know how we're going to produce it, we know how we're going to package it, and all of those little bits and pieces. Granted, it's improved dramatically over the past 2-3 weeks, but being able to see that complete pivot in that short of a period of time for a company of our size is relatively unheard of. And it was something that truthfully, everyone had bought in our family. And when everyone buys in, it's amazing really what you can do.
So those opening days, Andy, do you know how much were you guys producing, say March 20th or whatever that date was,
Oh,
versus today?
Yeah, I mean, we were doing, going at full speed before we had really improved a lot of processes, and we were doing 1,000 liters a day. Now we're doing about 6,000 liters a day. So quite dramatically.
And what's I hear the train out there. I know you guys are right by the train tracks. So I know exactly where you are. And
all the railroads are needing hand sanitizer as well.
Yeah, everyone is needing it right now. I know we're a ways off from this, but when life gets back to normal, I cannot recommend enough going down to the Rieger Distillery. In the meantime, and I know, Andy, you've mentioned this to me, and I want to talk about some of the people that are helping you out too, some of the other companies that are jumping in. I mean, this is all about supporting businesses here in town. So, I did get this out because I remember when I was talking to you the other day, and I said, how can I help? And of course, I'll put anything you guys need out and share on social media. And I'm lucky enough to have that audience because of Royals and all that. And you said just encourage people to support local business. So I know that day I went out to Lucas Liquor, and it's amazing how everything's changed, right? We're right by Lucas Liquor. I put in my order online and pulled up and got my curbside and got my stuff. And so there's still ways to support others out there in the midst of all of this. Tell me about some of the other local companies and businesses that have partnered or are helping along with what you guys are doing.
We've had a couple different label printing companies that have helped us out with labels, and we're doing really quick turnarounds to help us get it done. 360 is one, Vanguard was the other that really helped us out. Mediahead has helped us out on, and these are people that just said, hey, we're just going to do this free of charge just to help you start knocking this stuff out right off the bat. We've had multiple restaurants bring us food. We have had, so from that, I mean, Lawn Lanes Inspired Occasions has brought us food. We've had margaritas. We've had Blindside Barbecue. We've had Squeal Like a Pig, Slaps Barbecue. Those have been really, really fun to see those types of companies come around. We had a gentleman yesterday that called, and he does nothing related to us, could never be a supplier of ours. And he called me earlier this week and goes, hey, I would love to bring your team lunch. And I was like, oh, that's really, not necessary. And he goes, no, I want to do this. And I knew that he had no angle, that he was working, and he just wanted to do it out of the sincerity of his heart. And brought our entire team lunch yesterday, just got it catered and brought it in and said to him, I go, whatever you need, we want to help you out. Just let us know when we can help out. He goes, I don't need anything from you. I and everyone around in Kansas City is so grateful for what you guys are doing. I want to make sure you're taken care of. And he goes, and by the way, we're gonna do this next week as well for you guys.
Wow.
And again, it's more of that, and that's what really motivates and fuels our entire team, is just seeing those people and how sincere our town really is.
We got a few more minutes or so with Andy. I want to be able to let him get back to work because there aren't enough moments in the day. I know how busy you are there every moment. If anybody has a question over the next few minutes and you want to submit it, we'll pop it up there. But I'll ask this question then, and I'm sure others are wondering, are there ways for just the average person sitting at home to be able to support what you guys are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit on it earlier. It's really, everyone votes right now with what they want to be around when all this ends, based on how they're spending their money. And we're in a really, really fortunate spot that we're doing what we're doing, but our team's still producing alcohol on a daily basis, and whiskey takes 5-6 years for it to age and become incredible. So we're still going through with that. But I mean, next time everyone's at a liquor store, just think, if you're buying a bottle of vodka, who's doing what for you? Who do you want to be here when it's all said and done? When you're buying a bottle of gin, think about it. If you don't like our products, we don't want you to buy it. But if you like our products, now more than ever, every time that you're buying a bottle, because not only are you buying it and then you're supporting, but the liquor store is then knowing that, oh, people are wanting to support more of this. So then they want to support us more. And then the distributor who's local is selling more product. And so it just goes down the food chain. And so whenever you're at home and you're stockpiling your bar, just think about what we're doing, because we've still got 60 people employed. Fortunate for us, we really haven't had to forcefully terminate people. A lot of people that left just were afraid of the health concerns. So that's been a completely different scenario altogether. But we being that we kept everyone employed, it's a really big thing. Not every company can say that here locally, and not every company can say that across the country. And so really we're trying to do the right thing, and the more support that we get from people behind the scenes just allows us to continue to do that and continue doing that for not just this year, not just next year, but the next decade and through the next issues that we get involved with, similar to what we're going through now.
I'm curious. I mean, as a guy that grew up in Kansas City, and let me do this real quick, because what I want to ultimately ask you is just how proud you are of not just your staff but the community, and you've touched on that some. But for those that don't know the history, can you tell us about your great grandfather?
Yep. Yeah. Right. So J. Rieger & Co. was originally founded back in 1887 in Kansas City in the West Bottoms, and it became one of the largest whiskey houses in the United States and died with Prohibition. But before it died in Prohibition, which was 32 years, I believe, after they got started, but they actually built a hotel on the corner of 20th and Main Street called the Rieger Hotel, and it coincided with the opening of Union Station, and it really became the marketing arm. So once the distillery got shut down with Prohibition, they actually sold the hotel off, but the word Rieger still remained in marble on that building, and the building still exists today. So in 2010, a restaurant opened there called the Rieger, and that sparked the discussions for reviving the distillery again. So then we restarted the distilling operations in the Electric Park District within the East Bottoms of Kansas City, which was the original settlement area of Kansas City. And we started that in 2014, and then we started at 15,000 square feet, and then we just did an expansion to 60,000 square feet, which we talked about earlier, opened in January of 2019. And today we are now a hand sanitizer factory.
For the time being, and still making whiskey and gin and everything you guys do. So that I just wanted to lead to it. I know you've touched on it, but as a guy that grew up here, as a guy that had moved away, went to school away and moved away and came back, made the choice to come back as your co-founder of the distillery, Ryan Mabey says, I think he's got the Rieger, the restaurant, but he threw this idea at you, and I don't know that you were ever envisioning getting into this business in terms of a distillery. I know you never envisioned being in the hand sanitizer business, but now here you are as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, making a major impact in the community. How proud are you of this city, of Kansas City?
I mean, this is my home. This is where I grew up. My father passed away in 2010 of cancer, and one of the things that he said was, Kansas City is a great city, but you got a great career and a great thing going in Dallas, and don't move back unless you know that you're supposed to move back for something. And so really when the whole idea of the distillery came around, and after my father passed away, I took his words at heart and said, this isn't what I'm supposed to do. And then slowly but surely, as I started getting more and more involved in helping out the resurrection of it, when I had no plans of it, being able to pull in people just by telling the story of how this company could be started, more or less I was operating as an unpaid consultant, being able to get the guy that ran Maker's Mark. And he said, I want to be a part of this. This is the coolest revival story, and you want to start as a manufacturer, not as a physical location that's a bar. So this is something that I want to be a part of this. And then you had the guy that ran Tanqueray, and he said the same thing. And the guy that was one of the main sales guys for Diageo said the same thing. And you started to scratch your head and say, maybe there's something here that I'm missing a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of that element that I'm so blinded by the comments that my father made that I should strongly consider that this is going to be something that could be a real life-changing experience for me. And more or less, my now wife, who's our brand director, who I was living with at the time as my girlfriend, she said to me one day when we were in Dallas in our apartment, she just says, I think this is what your dad was talking about. I think that this is why we're supposed to move to Kansas City. And when she said that to me, it kind of made me take a step back and realize it. And I almost immediately go, yeah, I guess you're right. And so from there, it was more or less our mission to do it. And we did it, and we were able to really grow it. And it became something that expanded and put us in this fortunate position that we were in today, based on all the community support we received over the first 5 years, to be able to really convert our operation and get back in the way that we are right now.
Well, listen, I'm proud of what you all are doing. As a friend, I'm proud of you, and I know how exhausted you are, and I'm sure everyone is, but I think you all know the impact you're making. I hope you do. I hope you know how appreciated you all are. And, you know, we're talking so much about the healthcare workers being on the front lines. You guys are sacrificing not just sleep, but putting yourselves out there every single day. So I'm trying to say nice things about you, by the way. So
we don't get to see our child as much. My wife is 6 months pregnant, and we've got a 2.5-year-old at home. And I would say that the amount of time that we don't get to spend with our 2.5-year-old is the hardest part. And then for being 6 months pregnant, my wife, Lucy, who's our brand director, she's just taken on all the public communication, and she's just kicking total ass.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. At some point when things are safe, I will come and hang out on the Rieger porch, and we will chill out with a little bit of whiskey, or we'll do a dinner as we did somewhat recently over at Rye, and we'll keep supporting all these local businesses and still be able to do that now. But I'll let you get back to work. If people want to just find out what's going on, all the social media sites at J Rieger Co. is the way to do it. Andy, thanks for taking the time, and take care of yourself. Take care of Lucy. Take care of the kids, or kid and kid soon to be. And like I said, I'm proud of you, and keep on doing what you're doing, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel. Be good.
All right, you too. I'm going to pull Andy off there right now. Let him get back to work. So that's the spirit here of Kansas City. I think probably people are seeing that in every community, but to have a local company like that make that pivot so quickly, just trying to take care of people and their own too, and try to keep everyone employed is truly unbelievable. So kudos to everyone involved. I hope that you will again find a way to go out there and purchase some of your favorite stuff if you can do that right now. I know money's tight for so many people, myself included, but there's so many opportunities here right now to support. Want to thank my sponsors, as always, Casey Cattle Company. You can check them out on their website or on social media. Another good local company, and I could not do this at all without the support of Enterprise Bank and Trust. Hashtag no stopping you. So this was episode 9 of Rounding the Bases Live. Like everything else, the stuff is happening quickly. I never envisioned 2 weeks ago that there would be a live Rounding the Bases. I've got my episode that comes out every Monday morning, and that's more of a sit-down audio interview. Those will continue to run out there, telling stories of leaders and entrepreneurs in the area. But I really want right now this space live every day to be one where we share good stories. Also, yesterday I had Greg Crum on from Data Scribe, and he's a guy that's trying to help out, and they're offering bookkeeping for 2 months free of charge, no strings attached. But I also wanted to have him on because he's overcome a lot of personal adversity, and all these interviews are up on my YouTube page. If you go to their YouTube channel, if you go to Joel Goldberg Media or search Rounding the Bases Live, you can find it there. Facebook. My only ask for you, along with supporting all these local businesses, is to just go out there and share these interviews with others. If they help anyone, if they help others out there with some advice or some hope, and just understanding that we're all in this together, I think that could be a good thing. And so hope you'll share these. I hope everyone has a good, healthy, and safe weekend. I'll be back Monday on Rounding the Bases Live with another story of another local company making an impact here in the community. So have a great weekend, everyone. That's going to do it for this week of Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. Thanks, everyone.